tuning in to the Powaful Impact, where we interview people who had a powerful impact on the community, music, or the culture at large. I'm Solrak, and joining me tonight is Goddess, Neb, and SP. And tonight, I'm excited because we got like a special guest, a hip hop pioneer, not only in hip hop music and media as well. And so we have who come to us tonight, my man T Money. We're glad to have you on the show, and we're excited to talk to you about your journey. So I'm gonna start off with the first question, and then we just want you to just go ahead and share with us about your journey tonight. Where are you from originally, and how did that shape you as a person, professionally and personally?
Well, I am from Newcastle / Westbury, Long Island, New York.
Word.
Long Island gets a hard rap sometimes in regards to, because everything now that is acceptable is, you got to be from somewhere that was really hard, hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, in a lower middle class neighborhood. A lot like a lot of people. You know what I mean? I have, I was blessed to have, a great upbringing, man. I went to great schools, and I didn't go to private school. I went to public school. My neighborhood was 85 to 90% black, 8% Hispanic, and the rest, 2% white.
Okay.
So I encountered a lot of the things as far as the street was concerned, just like any other place. You know what I mean? There was drugs, there was poverty, there was, a lot of things going on in my neighborhood. Trust me. So, matter of fact, as growing up, man, they used to call my neighborhood, it's Westbury, but they used to call it Crackberry, because at one point in time, we were the number one consumer of crack in the state of New York, Westbury, New York, Newcastle. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys, he did that hand to hand on my block, so it was really crazy. But how it shaped me, I would think it shaped me well because I had two good parents, man. My parents raised me well, and as a kid, I was, really into sports. I was an athlete. I played baseball, ran track, and I was pretty good at playing football, and the local drug dealers around the way used to be like, yo, I don't want you part of this life. You got a future, play sports, do what you do. You know what I mean? Because we were all friends. We went to school together and everything. You know what I mean? So it was and the OGs, they knew my parents. My father's like a legend in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So I never really got involved. Although I had ample opportunity to do so, I never really got involved with moving drugs or guns or anything else. You know what I mean? So that was not my life. You know what I mean? Although plenty of my friends did. And a lot of them are here today. Some of them are still locked up. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was a tough upbringing. You know what I mean? I could say that, but I got through it pretty well.
Yeah, I appreciate you talking about that. And the thing I do love about what you said, you mentioned Long Island. There are a lot of hip hop icons that came from Long Island. You got Rakim, EPMD, and many more. So I don't know what impact they had on you directly, but as far as the hip hop culture, they made a major impact, and as well as you. And so I'm glad that you did mention Long Island, because you're right. And it seems that sometimes Long Island may get overlooked, but anybody that knows the hip hop history, Long Island made a strong contribution to the culture. And
so, without question. Without question. Long Island was integral in the growth of hip hop. We're talking, as you mentioned earlier, you mentioned Rakim, EPMD, De La Soul. You talk about Public Enemy. You talk about myself, and the great Dr. Dre.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? We
Biz Markie.
Biz Markie is from out east. You know what I mean? So we made a great impact on the music, man. It's documented,
Exactly.
And you get to understand that that hip hop spans not just only in New York City in the five boroughs, it reached out to the island as well, in Queens, and
Staten Island and so many other places as well. And as we know it today, is global now. So hip hop started one place, but it's global. So we just loving the move.
No question.
T Money, where did you get your name from?
That's always a funny question. It had nothing to do with hip hop music or anything. It was really sports related. When I used to play football, there was a gentleman, that used to, when money was a terminology back then. You play sports, you hit the jump, oh, that's money, or you run a touchdown, and you good as money, because everything you touch, you good as money. So a friend of mine, actually, he was also a friend of Dr. Dre's. He played basketball, and his name was I think his name was Derek or Darren or something like that. And he thought it was really cool for him to use the money as a last name. And at the time, I was DJing, and my name was Cool Kelsey T, because my last name is Kelsey, right? Which was, to this day, it's like, to me, it was like the corniest name I could ever come up with. But so, and then when I saw, I said, yo, D Money, I said, it sounds better if I say T Money. So I took his name, and at the same time, simultaneously, people were like, yo, you good as money. I like when you play, you like money. So I was like, okay, this works for me. I'll use money. Okay. So since then, I took the T Money and made it, what it is today.
It just kind of stayed.
But no question, it's stuck.
All right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Were you in high school? What other career choices were you thinking about?
Well, like I said earlier, my main career choice, I really wanted to be a professional athlete. Okay. My cousin, my older cousin, played college football at Michigan. My younger cousin right now plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I have a lineage of family members that play college football or professional football. So I always wanted to play professional football. So in college, what had happened is I, the classic story of you got hurt and your career was over. That was me. I got hit in the knee. My knee went out. My football career was over at that point. So then I embraced the music, because I was already doing it with Dre. Me and Dre were DJing since we were much younger, man. We had a little DJ group called The Concept, which later became Def Jam's original Concept, which was signed, one of the first five groups that were signed to Def Jam Recordings. So, yeah. So, my football career ended in college, but I was, and I look back on it sometimes. I say, well, what if I would have just kept trying to play, So, but it never happened.
I guess we'll never know.
No, not now. No, they hit me like that now. I'm calling the police. Please get out of here. We're not doing that now.
Well, when I come,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, when I come in the city, I definitely want to reach out to you. We get on that court. Let's see. I want to see what you're doing on that.
Oh, basketball.
We see what you got. We'll see what you got.
I'm not mad at that, son. I got that, son. I got you, bro. Listen to me. You might beat me, but I'm gonna get mine, son. Trust me, I'm telling you.
We don't know. You might beat me. We don't know how it's gonna go. I just want to see if you're on the money. You know what I mean?
No, on the money. I'm on the money. That's right.
Word. Yeah, I know that you did mention your group that you was in, which was the Concept Crew, which became Original Concept. I want to dive a little bit deeper into that, because I feel like you like I said before in the beginning, when we was talking about what your career stands for and how you define the culture, I feel like Original Concept also defined the culture because of the music that was being made. Can you just kind of elaborate on the Original Concept and the contribution you made to the culture?
Well, back then, and I look at hip hop, I always look at the music, not necessarily the whole culture itself, but the music in particular, 360. Because you got to remember, at that time, hip hop music was kind of still in its infant stages, although there were companies that started, record labels, rap groups were coming out, pretty regular. But it was still, hip hop was still a baby at that time, And what was interesting about the music at that time was that when an artist came out, the artist was, they were different than the artists that came out previous. Okay. If Eric B and Rakim came out, then Tribe Called Quest had a different sound. Then, Biz had a different sound. EPMD had a totally different sound. So, the Original Concept, when we sat down to actually put together and let me take it back just a little bit. We
Okay.
We were discovered by the great Rick Rubin of Def Jam, and he was always into doing different things. I mean, the Beastie Boys in itself could tell you that he was interested in doing. They used the white guys who rap, and they were actually punk rockers at one time. But they took it to another level. But with that being said, he saw myself, Dre, Easy G, and Rapper G, and he said, we want you guys to do something totally different. That's why we talked on records. We made, we created bass music as a whole. I mean, Luke Skywalker from Two Live Crew could tell you that, because that's where he got it from.
Yeah.
He credits Original Concept with that. So we were interested in coming out and being different. We didn't want to just. I mean, we did have myself as a rapper, Rapper G as a rapper, but we were interested in doing different type of music. We would do instrumentals. We would talk on songs. We would do different things. Trying to be a little more diverse than the average rap group. You understand? So that's what fueled us to try to be different.
Yeah, and I like what you said, that you were trying to be different. I think that's the desire that was in the artists during the golden era of hip hop, is that we were striving for that originality. It seems that today you don't see as much originality as you did when you guys were coming out, because you wanted to leave an imprint, and I think that's a big difference today versus what you saw back then, is that people were striving to be different. They wanted to be original. They wanted to create their own brand. Do you want to just speak to that? We're going to get back into some of the other things you did, but since we're here, I just want to kind of explore that, because you did mention that, and so I just want to kind of explore it a little bit.
I'm with that, and
okay.
it was so funny because as hip hop grew, in its infant stages, it was about being different. It was about blazing your own trail, because those trails, there were no trails. So you were taking the De La Soul sound. Let's throw it against here. Let's see if it works. We're taking the Tribe sound. Let's see if it works. We were taking these different vibes. Female MCs. By themselves. Latifah, Moni Love. Let's see if all this works. We like it, but let's see if the world likes it. You understand? And DMC from Run DMC once said, he was saying the same exact thing, saying that during that era, everybody had a different sound. Run DMC didn't sound like Eric B. and Rakim. Eric B. and Rakim didn't sound like the next group. Everybody was interested in being so different. And as hip hop matured, and maybe I'm using that term loosely, as it grew, it started being more about every group coming out and turning a dollar.
Yes.
So now if you've seen a rap group or someone do well, right? Now you're going to piggyback off that group sound with another artist. Especially if you're another label, because you're not in competition directly on the label with the same artist. You're doing the same type of sound, because that sound in the marketplace works. But what does it do to the music? It dilutes it. It makes it less entertaining overall. Then everybody sounds the same. That's why today you got New York artists sounding like country artists. You got R&B artists sounding like they want to be Wu-Tang Clan, which I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah. So it came all about dollars and cents, and a lot less about the artistry. So that's a problem. And to be honest with you, it hasn't changed. It's getting worse as time progresses. So when someone, and that's why when somebody comes out that's so heralded as being different and he's successful, he's like, he or she is a god. They're revered, like, oh my God, he's so great. Granted, you're good, but you're being different like you're supposed to be. So it's weird. It's a weird energy.
T-Money, let's go back into time for a little bit. So, what was the first hip hop song you heard? Like, the first time your ears listened to some hip hop beats, and you're like, "Whoa, what is that?"
The first hip hop song on record that I ever heard was Fatback Band's King Tim III. rap song I've ever heard. Actually, I heard that on a friend's stereo at his house. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Wait, what is that?" I said, "You're playing that on a record?" He said, "Yeah, I got the record, you know, because Fatback Band had this idea to do a song called Kington the Third, and the guy was rapping, you know,
Right.
it was amazing. I said, wow, they're putting rap on record now, you know, and then you hear songs come out like Curtis Blow, and then you heard Spoonie G, and you start hearing all these new songs. It was like, whoa, okay, Enjoy Records was putting out songs, so you were like, wow, okay, now it's become a viable thing. Maybe my mother and father will let me actually do this for a living instead of trying to tell me to do something else, you know. You know, oh, you got to go to college, you know. If you don't go to college, your life will be nothing, you know.
Of course, yeah, we get that speech. We definitely get that speech.
All get that speech.
Yeah. So,
I know. What song made you fall in love with hip hop? What was that song that made you fall in love? Like,
I don't. That's a good question. That's a very good question. To be quite honest with you, I don't think it was. I don't think it was a song. To be quite honest with you, because keep in mind, I've been DJing. I'm a DJ by trade, even though I don't DJ anymore, you know. But I'm a DJ by trade. I can DJ in my sleep. I DJed since the inception, since I started listening to music. Period. Let me give you a story. So, like, you ever see those in my parents' house? You ever see those big old stereos with the big wooden stereos that look like furniture?
yes.
You ever see those things?
Yeah.
So my parents had one of those in the house, right? And then they had another little turntable, and you know, my cousin had another little turntable in her room. So what I would do, I would plug up both and plug up to try to figure out so I can hear it.
Right.
You know, I had no headphones. There was no headphones, so I would play like I was DJing on both these things. It was ridiculous. One turntable was here, and one was down here on the ground. You know, so and then I started doing that. I got pretty good at it, and then Dr. Dre, who was my friend in school, right? He was starting a group, but then I got with this other guy named Kevin, and me and Kevin got together and we started doing this group, and then I left that guy, and then me and Dre started actually doing parties.
Okay. Oh, so you and Dre met at school?
Yeah, me and Dre childhood friends. I met Dre in 5th grade. Me and Dr. Dre are childhood friends.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We grew, you know, I met Dr. Dre. We had in Mrs. Bundy's class. We had a class project.
Okay.
This is how far back me and Dre goes. We had a class project where we had to give one of our classmates a gift, right? So I bought Dre some kind of model car that you had to glue together. And I don't even know what he gave me, if he gave me anything, but but that's how we became friends from there. You know, and we were from the same neighborhood, you know. Okay. So it made it really easy, you know. And he hung out with people that I was really cool with. So we became good friends from then on, you know, and we DJ'd clubs and neighborhood parties, and you know, we were in a constant battle between a group called Music Mind that was in our neighborhood, you know. And it was us versus them. It was a big deal. So my love for hip hop didn't necessarily come from one particular song, you know, because and I guess I could say because I was prior to that kind of energy, you know, I was always, you know, from the inception of hip hop, I was there. So my love for hip hop came from, you know, just being part of it as it grew, you know. Listening to King Tim III's first song was amazing to me, because I was like, wow, they're actually putting this music on record. So, but that song in itself didn't make me fall in love with hip hop. I was already in love with hip hop music, you know. Before they even have a terminology called hip hop music, I was in love with it, you know. So
you said you're a DJ by trade. So what artists did you work with in your earlier years?
As a DJ?
Yes.
We, like I said, me and Dre used to do clubs. I DJ'd with him on Yo MYV Raps. I DJ'd a show called Lip Service, which won an award on MTV. I DJ'd I also went on tour with you know, and their name escapes me, which is terrible. I should be ashamed of myself. But the group that did
Okay.
Maria, the group that did Maria with Carlos
right.
Santana. I
Yes.
DJed with them. You know.
Okay. Okay.
So you know, they're from Long Island as well. They're from Hempstead. You know.
Okay.
So yeah, so I've you know I've DJed for quite some time, and basically we did a lot of clubs in New York City. You know,
Nice.
myself and Dr. Dre. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned Dr. Dre. I also want to find out when did you first meet? Because I know Dr. Dre is a childhood friend, but what about Ed Lover, Todd One, and Fab Five Freddy? When did those relationships become a reality?
Well, let's take one at a time. Well,
Okay.
Fab. Well, Ed first. Let's talk about my man Ed Lover. I met Ed during the Dre's audition for Yo MYV Raps. I met him then. You know, he was some tall, skinny kid. Dre was like looking at this guy like, this guy's gonna be on the show. I thought it was just gonna be me. And then Ed came. You know, you know, he introduced himself. He was really cool. You know, and he's always been cool with me. You know, I mean, Ed are really close. You know, so he had this Gumby with the blonde front. You know, if you ever watch early Yo's, you see.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. I vibe with Ed because, you know, as you know, he's a funny guy. He's very charismatic. You know, he's smart at what he does.
He used to come and visit Florida a lot. I remember seeing him in Florida at clubs all the time.
Yeah, because he hosts a lot of things. He does a lot of stuff now in Atlanta and Chicago.
Right.
So he's doing really well, man. You know, salute to Ed. You know, so me and him really hit it off. You know, you would think that, you know, when you know, childhood friends, right? So we you know, me and Dre have been on tour. You know, we actually, you know, our first tour with Original Concept, we went out on tour with we took Queen Latifah and DJ Mark the 45 King out on their first tour. On their first tour. Latifah had to be all of 16 at the time, you know? Yeah, so that was our first tour. It was crazy. Latifah's she's official, man. You know, so all the success she's having, she deserves it. You know, because we knew then that she was going to be somebody, because her mind was different. You know, she was different about the music and everything else. So, but yeah, so what was crazy is that, you know, me and Ed would go on the road, and, you know, me and Ed would hang out more times than not. It wouldn't be me and Dre. You would figure me and Dre would hang out, right? Because we were childhood friends. Not that we didn't want to hang out, but me and Ed vibe so crazy that we always were in the clubs. We always hung out together. You know, that's how it goes. You know, but Todd came on as a production assistant for Yo MYV Raps after we had been there for a while. And R.I.P. to my man Todd One. I miss him dearly. But yeah, no question. Todd was a good brother, man. You know, even when Yo was over, man, me and Todd stayed in touch, you know, and we became very close, you know. So, Fab Five Freddy, I met Fab on the set of Yo when we started. I think we were at National. I think that one of our first places that we started taping. But we all knew about Fab before we even did Yo, because Fab is a rap icon. You know,
yes, he is.
With Wild Style and everything else. I mean, he's part of the original. He's part of the original clan of people. You know, graffiti art and everything else. Blondie. And you can go on for days. So Fab. Much respect to him. You know,
absolutely.
Much respect.
How did the idea for Yo MYV Raps came? How did you guys get that idea?
Well, we didn't come up with the idea. Actually, the original Yo MYV Raps was not filmed here. It was filmed in Europe. It premiered in Europe first. It totally, and people think that we came up with the name and we started it. No, it actually premiered in Europe first. And most people don't. And Ted Demme and Peter Doherty were bringing it here. That's why they needed a host to do it here in America. You know, and that's where Ed and Dre came in.
Okay. Yeah.
How did you guys pick the artists?
I'm sorry?
How did you guys pick the artists? Like, how did you guys plan out which artists were going to come on the show or guests?
Well, that's a very good question. And a lot of people don't know that myself, Ed, and Dre used to actually program Yo MYV Raps, which was a huge responsibility for, you know, such young guys. And it basically is because we knew the music. I mean, it helped us a lot. You know, our knowledge of what was current, what was coming out, you know, what the people wanted to really hear. You know, like the F the Police by the NWA, we programmed that. We programmed Express Yourself, all that new West Coast stuff the NWA was doing, all the stuff from here in New York. We would literally every week, they would give us a paper to fill out as to what videos and songs we wanted to include in the show, and we would actually program until somebody at MTV realized how much power we were carrying and took it away.
For real.
No, seriously. I mean, that really happened. You know, they said, "Oh, you know, those brothers, they can't program the show. They in control of too much money. You know, no, we can't have that. Oh, you gotta give me that. You don't need to do that. We'll do that. You know."
That's when
things started happening. Yeah, that's when things started happening. You know, like when acquisitions started throwing. I mean, that's a whole nother story. Acquisitions started taking in videos that they didn't think were good enough for Yo, and they would throw them in a box in a corner. You know.
When T-Money, when did that start to happen, roughly? When did that start to happen in the whole, 7-year span?
I'll be remiss if I tell you exactly, because I don't really know. But I know around the time that NWA came out is when all the scrutiny started. That's when a lot of the scrutiny started, where they were telling people to do their videos over, cutting this out your video. Acquisition started getting very restrictive as to what they were going to play and what they weren't going to play. During that time, a cop killer, F the Police, X, Y, and Z. It got heavy around that time. And we were like, you got to play this stuff. This is groundbreaking stuff. You got to play it. They weren't trying to hear that.
They weren't trying to hear it back then, huh?
Yeah, but they eventually had to play it. They had no choice.
So just to piggyback on that, I'm sorry to jump in, but what do you feel about cancel culture nowadays? Because that sounds like when censorship started and the parental advisory, we have cancel culture now, which it sounds a little bit like that. How do you think that fits with this part right here that you're talking about?
Well, it resembles it a lot, and keep in mind that's cancel culture it's not foreign to anyone, especially people of color. You understand? No, so just know that what you're saying is 100% correct. You understand? And it's kind of like symbolic of what happens all the time when we get a lot of power. You understand? There's always somebody trying to chip away at our foundation in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
That's
so
true.
That we need to be cognizant of.
Yeah, what guess, just to go back to the MTV days, the heydays, more or less, what guess an episode is the most memorable to you, or would you consider, and it might be hard to consider the best of all the episodes that you had during your tenure?
No, it's easy.
Okay.
Our final episode was the best one we ever did.
Okay.
I mean, we had so many people that we interviewed over the years. I mean, we're talking Jada Pinkett Smith, we're talking Mike Tyson, we're talking all the rap artists, we're talking about the Notorious B.I.G., the Tupac episode, when he was going off on the brothers for the movie, and Ed had to put his hand over Tupac's face.
Yeah, I remember that episode. Yeah.
So, but the last episode was unbelievable. I mean, we had a plethora of rap artists at the time that were big that showed up. And we were talking about MC Hammer, Salt and Pepper, EPMD, KRS-One, Prince Marky D, God rest his soul, Special Ed, Method Man, Redman. It was just really just to say farewell to our show and how and pay tribute to how great our show was at the time. That show was, I mean, and if you look it up online rather, and you can see how everybody did freestyles. And I think one of the greatest moments of that day was, I believe, I'm not too sure who, I think it might have been Dre who passed the microphone to KRS. And KRS was like, no, and he bowed to Rakim and passed the mic to him to round first.
That's dope.
That was really cool.
How did you feel about that last episode? Like, what was going through your mind?
Melancholy. Yeah, what the hell am I do now? That's the first thing that went through my mind. Like, what the hell am I going to do now? But I was melancholy. I mean, it was kind of bitter and sweet. you know. So it just was it was a beautiful moment in time. You know, I embraced it. There's so many people that actually shared that with us, and that's something I'll never forget.
Okay, all right. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure it must have been a little bit like heartbreaking. You know what I mean? Because
Well,
you
not really,
for
because
a
I'm gonna
long
tell you, Goddess, I'm gonna tell you what time it is. It wasn't really heartbreaking because it didn't come by surprise.
Okay.
6 months ago, and I told Ed this not too long ago. I still have the letter. MTV sent us a letter and said our show was going to be canceled 6 months prior to that.
Okay.
So we knew that
wait,
this was it. Right. It wasn't shocking to us. You know,
did
it
you
was
know
just
why
sad.
they were gonna cancel it in 6 months?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've always speculated, but what had happened months before, MTV's brass changed hands. They were doing changes. Still to this day, I'm befuddled as to how they're going to cancel their #1 show.
Right.
But but honestly, historically, I don't believe MTV was really interested in keeping us around. They had no choice at some point because I mean, they put us on twice a day, and they did that because they thought that we would be saturated. We would saturate the market. People would get tired of watching us. When in essence, the total opposite happened.
It grew.
Our ratings went through the roof at the time.
Right.
And I just think there was always some sort of backdoor sabotage in play for our show. So whenever they got the opportunity, they would pull the plug.
They were waiting
And
for
that's
the opportunity.
yeah, and that's what they did. So, but no hard feelings. I mean, those years were great, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. Some of the best times of my life.
So you said that you had it ended abruptly, but what was your next move right after? What was the next day like?
Well, the next day was just me, trying to do some music industry stuff, and I eventually decided that I would go back to school,
right,
and finish my bachelor's degree, which I did, and then I went to NYU to get my my degree in marketing from there, and then I worked for a company called Prasad Brothers, which was at the time one of the biggest black-owned marketing companies in New York City. Erwin Prasad, Michael Prasad, and they did great events. They used to do parties here in New York City. They were sponsored by Tanqueray. If you hear the noise, there's somebody coming into my house right now. So
you good? You good?
yeah, okay, all right. But they were sponsored by Tanqueray. And so I mean the parties that they did were unbelievable. I mean, and they catered at the time. They catered to athletes, politicians, and we did huge marketing events with Timberland, with Reebok, with who else did we? Oh, Pepsi, and I learned the business of marketing from them. How to use corporate dollars to to fund your dreams.
right.
And then in 2012, I opened my own marketing and promotional company called T450 Style and Launch.
Oh, real dope.
Yeah, definitely dope. I just want to kind of go back to Yo MTV Raps again, because I will admit, as a fan, I was heartbroken when the show ended. You know what I'm saying? But I'm so grateful for the contribution you made to hip hop. And
thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to go on that, but also I want to just explore your experience with Def Jam as well, because you was there at the beginning, and based on from what you're telling me, because you worked exclusively with Rick Rubin. You also was there with Beastie Boys when they were on the label, as well as others. I also believe you mentioned Run DMC. What was it like? What was it like being with Def Jam in those early stages? Just want you to elaborate.
Def Jam back then was really, really cool. I mean, to be honest with you, I wish you ever heard that expression? You wish you would know what you know now and be able to apply it when you were younger.
Absolutely.
Because honestly, it was like really. I'm not gonna say it was a blur, because I don't want to make it seem as if I don't remember half of it, but it was just so surreal. At the time, Def Jam was starting as a label, man. the early stages. I mean, me and Dre used to go see Rick Rubin in his college dorm. You know, I mean, and we're talking about, you know, NYU. You know, he got the pull-out couch. You know, he got tapes, demo tapes all over the floor. You understand? So it was just like, okay, now, you know, this is what my parents said I shouldn't be doing, but you know, I see Russell Simmons going to work with sneakers on, and you know, I never see him dressed up, you know, never once, you know. So maybe I'm doing the right thing. So I followed my dreams in relation to that, and me and Dre would go up to Rush. We were, you know, I mean, I'm talking when Rush first started, when they only had one room with a desk. Heidi would be on one side of the room and Russell would be on the other. This is before Leo Cohen. This is before all that. You know, I'm talking about like way down on when they were on Elizabeth Street, right in New York City, you know, and they only had one office room. It was crazy, you know, but the experiences were great. The people that we met at Def Jam was great. I remember meeting LL when LL was young, man. LL was so
he was young. Yeah, he was very young. I remember.
You know, yeah, he was really young, and we worked with Run DMC. You know, actually, myself, Dr. Dre, and a rapper G did a song for Run DMC called "Proud to Be Black." Actually,
dope track.
Yeah. So we, you know, how we learned how to do production through a guy by the name of Steve Ett. There's so many stories behind that. You know, I mean, Def Jam was, and then you know, Dre DJ for the Beasties. You know, and I road managed them one night. You know, one day when we were overseas, that was like the longest night of my life, man. Trust me. But it was worth the experience. It was something else.
All right, I appreciate that.
Oh wait, hold on. Can you guys hear me? Okay,
we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Real quick, let me ask you a question. What advice would you give to an artist or somebody that's trying to follow in your footsteps? What kind of advice would you give them in this industry, especially in this day and time?
It would all depend on what the artist was actually trying to do. If the artist was trying to just be an artist, or if the artist was trying to be a business and expand, if the artist was trying to do film and television, if the artist was just trying to actually, you know, just manage people, or there's so many facets. But what I would tell anybody that was interested in getting involved in the business itself is that it's going to be a lot of tough times. Even today, some of the business that I do today, you know, I'm befuddled by, you know, the inconsistency. I'm baffled by the people who aren't genuine, you know. And I work very diligently, you know, and sometimes it gets extremely frustrating. They have to understand that sometimes you're going to have a hard road. It's not going to be simple, you know. But the opportunities you have today, right? The opportunities you have today to make it are nowhere or unbelievable. You have tons of opportunity. You have social media. You have, you know, so many people who are doing this today as a job, as a serious means of income. When myself and a lot of other guys back in the day started doing this, I mean, keep in mind that there was no viable means of making a living unless you DJ or unless you had a hit record, you know. And it was very difficult to be successful. So you had to work really hard over a long period of time to get a crumb. Now, if you made a record in your house on some equipment that you know you were fortunate enough to purchase, you could put it online and you could have a hit record tomorrow. You understand? So there's a huge difference. So you have to be business minded. You have to learn, you know, you have to learn the business. Keep in mind, this is the music business. Business is much bigger than music. You know, don't fall in love with the things that you create either. You know, because as an artist, you can always create more. As the West Coast Dr. Dre, he told Suge, yo, you can keep all that. I'll make more music. You understand? Yeah. So you as the artist, just keep focus. You know, and don't even use that terminology as, you know, as it's so generic as everybody uses it today. Just, I mean, I'm being honest. Just focus on your craft. Focus on being diligent. Don't be discouraged about anything. you know, and remain humble and remain, you know, and be focused on trying to take yourself to the next level.
Focus on yourself, focus on your own craft, and just, you know, stick to your own path.
Right.
To keep, you know, keep yourself different. So that makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Keep yourself, no question. Keep yourself different. Remember, we just had that conversation a little earlier. Don't copycat. And, you know, a lot of young artists get into that copycatting because they don't know, you know, they don't have the knowledge to, you know, they're not as, and I'm not knocking any young artists because I happen to have an affinity for young talent. You know, it's raw. It's, you know, it's not processed. It's, you know, it's, and a lot of times it's really good. You know, it's just not nourished by the powers that be a lot of times. But there a lot of times they get their influences from somebody they just copy. You know, and you can't do that. You know, you gotta be yourself.
That's true.
You formulate your own identity.
And I got a question to ask you too, because I know in hip hop, there always seems to be an expiration date for people to do music, like an MC or anything like that. Like you reach this age, you're too old to rap or anything like that. Or like when you deal with rock and roll, blues, and other type of music, you don't hear anything about you being too old to do anything. But it seems to be a constant thought process in the hip hop community. I just want you to kind of speak to that because you've been at the beginning. You're in the management arena, you've been in the marketing arena, so you can give us a different perspective that we haven't heard before. I just want you to kind of speak to that as far as that concept is concerned.
Well, I want you to understand. Well, there's a couple of things you got to understand.
Okay.
As a 50-year-old rapper, it'll be extremely hard for you to make it if you've never had a song before. I mean, it'd be almost impossible. There's no marketplace for you as a new artist. It's just too many. You'll run into too many obstacles. But if you're an established artist, say for instance you are a Big Daddy Kane, you are a KRS-One, you are a Stetsasonic, you are a Moni Love, you are an established artist with hit records, you know, in your catalog. You should be supported by your own people. Understand this, right? Run DMC, Public Enemy, all these people you grew up with, you didn't grow up and forget about them. You grew up to them. So now their music is whack to you because you're 55 years old? No, it should be embraced.
Exactly.
You know, and keep in mind something, which irks me the most about this whole scenario, I'm glad you mentioned this, is that artists like that always have new songs, and you never hear them. Why is that? Redman comes out with a song a week, and his shit. Excuse my French. I don't know if I can.
No, you're good. You're good.
You know,
you're good.
But his shit is fire.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you don't hear that on commercial radio. They don't play it. They won't play it. It's not generating them enough money. You understand? So the only people that they can turn to are other industry professionals that are in position to be able to play this music, you know, to get them spins, you know, in some way, shape, form, fashion, whether it's television, whether it's radio, you understand? So they should be supported. You know, you're never too old. You should be. Listen to me, man. Public Enemy should be playing Vegas until they're 70.
I agree.
Are you kidding me?
That's what I said.
Word.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I said about Run DMC, you know,
yes, me too.
Before Jam Master Jay passed away, God bless his dead.
Yes.
But I said Run DMC should be playing Vegas like fucking Olivia Newton-John or, you know, all these other fucking people. Tom Jones plays Vegas still. How old is fucking Tom Jones? My mother used to listen to Tom Jones.
Yeah, he could barely get on the stage, but he's still doing
it. So, by wheelchair. He'll fucking wheel him on a wheelchair.
Roll up
he'll
there.
Get up. What's new, Pussycat? He'll still do that shit.
That's
so why can't Public Enemy do their songs? Fight the Power is still relevant. It's only not relevant because at a certain age group, we're not supporting it the same way.
That's true.
We did an event, you know, and I'm sorry to keep talking, but
no, that's good. Keep talking. We want to share your thoughts.
Thank you. I want to get this point across. We did a concert in 2018. Myself, Ed Dre. It was called the Yo MTV Raps Experience. We did it at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. There were and the reason why I have infinite knowledge of doing this comparison, because I actually had a client that did something at Summer Jam the week after that. Okay. And it did it for Hot 97. It was just, a whole week of work that we had to do. So actually I had two clients. I had a client that actually did a lot of the banner work that was around the arena out at Summer Jam, which is another story in itself. But the reason why I'm making this comparison is because the Barclays Center was full. I think it was 17.5 was the total count at the Barclays Center, give or take. 17,500. No incidents, no beef, no 17,500, and I'm almost certain the demographic was 35, 30, and better, right?
Yes.
Summer Jam's crowd dwarfed that by more than double. It's because they go out and they buy tickets and they support, and the radio plays it. If you still have the same network of promotion, right? Of direct promotion to that particular demographic, the Barclays would have been packed for 2 or 3 days. Keep in mind we had 17,500 and we only did 2 days of national promotion.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
2 days.
That's crazy.
Only 2 days. So if you know how Summer Jam promotes for months in advance. Can you imagine if we did that for months in advance? It would have been we would have had to do another show.
Yeah, that's bananas though.
Just like the comedians do. Martin Lawrence did Radio City for 3 nights. It would have been the same thing. So my point is we just need to support these artists, man, because they make great music, man. I watched Versus the other. If Versus the other night didn't inspire you with KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane, then you don't have a pulse. You just don't have a pulse.
Who are you choosing?
I couldn't choose either one of them. They're both.
But who did you think was gonna win before it started?
That's the same question. You try to lead me to that.
we want to answer. We want to answer.
She's trying to get me.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken or the egg?
Yeah, well, listen. I don't know. I can't say.
Yes,
I have an affinity. Yeah. Listen, I have an affinity for Big Daddy Kane.
T-Money, you giving us the political answer right now. You giving us the correct answer.
Because I didn't really, honestly, I didn't know who was gonna win. I know KRS-One is a problem live.
Yeah, he's a problem.
He's a serious. And I have infinite. I have knowledge of that. Just know that my I told Chris. I said, Chris, we're actually we're actually part of history, you and I together. And he was like, what do you mean? He said, because if you remember during the verses, if you watch them, he said, ask PM Dawn, because he did. KRS-One and the BDP posse threw PM Dawn and the whole crew off the stage.
Yeah,
whose party do you think that was? That was my birthday party. That was my birthday party. Yeah.
That was your birthday party?
Yeah, that was my birthday party. I was standing on stage. PM Dawn went flying in the crowd. It looked like the Red Sea parted.
Oh shit!
And then they dropped. I'm still number one. It was crazy. That night was psycho crazy.
Yeah, it was
T-Money.
I mean, that was history. I know that's what Ed for this. That's what Ed said. That's what Ed said.
You to blame. We're gonna put the blame.
That's hilarious. I never knew what the issue was. I didn't know it was your. That's dope. So you heard it here first. T-Money set the whole joint up.
No, I didn't say that. Don't put that blame on me, brother. But KRS did what he had to do because that was hip hop. Because PM Dawn got arrested dead. On top of that, he was talking. I mean, back then talking about Chris. You got to get it. You
got to get it.
Teach of what? What are you talking about? Teach of what?
Yeah.
And when I saw him, I saw Chris and them there, man. They were on stage on the side. Chris had a hoodie on. I was like, oh, it looks like it's going to be some kind of beef. But at the time, I didn't put 2 and 2 together until
T-Money, can I ask one magic question with this, T-Money?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you allegedly had nothing to do with this, who invited PM Dawn to to the
Oh
party.
I invite you. PM Dawn he was actually performing. PM Dawn was performing
You
at the joint.
you see where I'm going, T
But I
Money?
didn't send him
Who
in the
about to
on
carry
the
us
stage,
one,
homie.
T Money?
Nah, man. I didn't invoke that gangster shit, man. I didn't do that. That was all on Chris, but I ain't mad
Yeah.
because that's hip hop. That's how it goes
that's right.
down, bro. You
You're
want
right.
you want to poke the bear, dog? That's what happens. Don't poke the bear. And KRS back then was the fucking bear. You already know.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
T Money, if you invite me to a party, I'm not coming. Okay, just so that.
Well, don't say nothing about KRS.
We don't have no beef, man. We good. You can come to the party. No worries. You know.
Don't
but that whole evening was so. He went flying. It looked like you ever watch a movie when you see something and somebody goes ooh, like he was slow. To me, I look at that shit slow. Right now, to this day, in my mind, it went slow motion. He went flying. The girls that were with him, all them, they off the stage, right?
That's funny.
And then when he told Kenny Parker, drop that shit. Then he played dun, 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 jump, jump, jump. The whole the place was shaking because everybody in there was jumping in the air.
Damn.
Then he says, T Money is down with us. I figured now I'm a co-conspirator now because you said
yeah, definitely.
And then he said Kid Capri is down because Kid Capri was standing there too. It was just that right there was it. And you know what's so funny?
It's on video too.
No, that who has it on video? I need it.
Thought that I seen I seen a piece of Karis beating him on video, hitting him over the head. I've seen that. So anyway, you know what? Let me stop.
That'd be amazing.
I'm
gonna tell you because MTV left. They were filming it. They were filming the party.
Oh,
early on in the party.
That's what I'm saying.
But early on, get hit. No, but they weren't there then because they left.
Oh.
MTV left early because a lot of people didn't show early on, but then they started coming in late, and it was packed later on, and they were already gone. If they would have got that on film, everybody would already know about that. So
anyway, this is all allegedly, folks. Allegedly, none of this is factual.
No, well, this is factual that he got thrown off the stage. What's alleged is that I had something to do with it. That's alleged.
Yeah, that's the part that's alleged.
Okay.
We got you back, T Money. You good?
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, bro.
We got you. Powaful Impact got you tonight. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Let me ask you, who created the mailman skit on Yo MTV Raps? Who came up with that idea?
Well, Ted Demme, and it was co-created by Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. That was really simple. You know what's so funny? Like, I was on the set the whole time. Ed and Dre were doing the show.
Yeah.
I was always there because that was the nature of my relationship with Dre. We would always leave from Long Island to go to the city, whether we were going to record pools or we were going to different clubs. We would always be in the city doing something. So by nature, it was just, okay. We just came up for tour with Latifah.
Right.
And me and Dre started going to the city because he had to do Yo. So for the first few months, I'm in the car with him. I'm there. And then what happened was Yo started getting a lot of fan mail. So, and at the time, well, actually just before that, I was working at Federal Express. I used to work at Federal Express when I went to school, Okay. And I used to sometimes, and Dre would go around telling people that. I'm like, why are you telling people I used to work at FedEx? He used to tell people I used to go to college and I do film.
Yeah.
Dre was, he was my promoter. So he used to go around telling people. So I didn't say anything. So when the mail got too much, because they didn't know what to do with it. So Ted suggested, the late great Ted Demme, God rest his soul, that we start reading some of the mail on camera. So that's what happened. And then they asked me to do this character called the Mailman, which opened the door to all the other characters I used to do.
Oh my goodness.
Me and Ed did a few. And then Ed started doing the Ed Lover dance, which took on a life of his own. And I created the Ed Lover dance too,
Okay,
you did. Okay.
Oh, no question. Ed will tell you that. And then he didn't want to do it, but one time I said, you gotta do that every week, which made it which made it huge. You know,
it did. It did.
Until this day, people ask him in the street, "Can you do the Ed Lover dance?" They ask him that.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind saying it again. I mean, it was a staple of the show, so no doubt, no doubt.
But the Mark the 45 King beat.
Yeah, that beat was crazy. It was bananas when it came out. It just added, it just it was in a whole nother stratosphere. But I do want to ask you a question about Tupac. How was it acting with Tupac and Juice? And did you think it would be? And did you think he would become who he was?
Well, a couple things. I didn't interact with Tupac.
Okay.
During the movie Juice, because I was just extra in the movie, so I didn't interact with him at that point. But when him and Ed became close, I got to know him, and that guy, Tupac, man, God bless his life, bro. I feel, in a way, as it relates to him, I really wish he would have never been murdered. I would have loved to have seen, what he would have become as an older person, and how he could have contributed to not just the hip hop culture, man, to the life of people of color, period. I mean, Tupac was smart. He was extremely intelligent. He was driven. He was really special, as a person. So looking past all what everybody, his persona, as being a thug and all this other stuff, but as an intelligent black man, that dude, to quote the late great Humpty Hump, Tupac had a plan A, B, C, and D. That dude was ill. He was ill.
Yeah, he was. No doubt.
He was ahead of his time.
Oh, no question. He was special. He shouldn't have died in that way, man. It was terrible how he was gunned down. But I wish he was there.
He's gonna. That's a legend right there for sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. CVJ, he who became infamous from Love and Hip Hop, is he anything like his television persona? No, not as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'm not saying that. Ooh, acting in there, or is he like? Is that him? Is that
no.
He's
that's Sleazy J. That's not Stevie J.
Oh, Sleazy. Okay, we know the new name.
Yeah,
we know the real name.
Sleazy J, man. That's not Stevie. Sleazy is a totally different person, man. But that's my family right there. The Jordans, I love them all. We were hanging out, man. I did a lot of work with Steve as a DJ on a lot of the music that he worked on at that time. So, and I got really close with his family. But Steve is a good dude, man. He's always. Let me tell you something. And to keep it totally transparent. There was a time in my life where my money wasn't right. You understand? And his brother Michael, and yes, his name is Michael Jordan. That's his brother, his older brother. Put me on to Steve, and Steve, Steve looked out for a brother. You know what I mean? When I needed a hand. You understand? And that's a true friend. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he didn't loan me nothing. I earned my money. Because I don't take a handout. But he put me on.
He gave you the opportunity. He gave you opportunities.
He put me on with his production team, and I did my thing. I worked on joints with Heavy D, Mariah Carey, LL Cool J. I worked on joints. You know what I mean? So, and peace out to him. You know what I mean? So when I saw that he was doing Love and Hip Hop, I talked to him. I was like, "Yo, you doing your thing?" It was kind of role reversal. Now you're on Viacom, and I used to be. You know what I mean? It was kind of surreal. But now Stevie's he's fun loving, and he's off the hook. And he, a lot of stuff you see on Love and Hip Hop is not necessarily. I mean, that goes for every freaking body on that show. I mean, you do all that. I mean, not just that show, but just TV period. Everybody wants the drama. Everybody wants the drama. That's why they do it.
Yeah, so you
drama sells.
Extra.
Right. Drama sells. You know what I mean? So
it does. It does.
Yeah. No doubt.
What do you think? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you good.
Now I just want to know what do you think about the new reboot of Rap City? What do you think about that?
I think it is I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched any of it yet. I haven't watched Video Soul either, because I know that's rebooted.
Right.
But I haven't watched it yet. But the idea of it is incredible, and it goes a lot to supporting my theory of you know, all the stuff that was pioneerish as far as music is concerned, like Yo MTV Raps or Video Soul, or you know, even 106 in Park, or you know, Rap City. You know, all of it's relevant today. You just have to look at it from a different perspective. You understand? You can't look at it from a 16-year-old to a 30-year-old perspective. I mean, hip hop is hip hop is the #1 art form music wise in the entire world.
That's crazy.
You don't think that's not inclusive to people over 30 years old?
Of course.
That's bombastic to even think that, you know, but people won't say that, but that's the prevailing sentiment, because people say, well, you're not relevant. What the fuck are you talking to me about? How are I relevant? You're making no sense, you know? Not saying that they say that to me.
They don't understand the history, though. If you don't understand your history, you're not going to realize what's relevant.
Right, Goddess. And peep this, though. It's because, you know, it's because it's an energy that, you know, I'm the man now. This is the energy. I'm the man now. Fuck you old motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's, you know, that, and it's not their fault, because kind of how this country treats people of age too.
That's true.
You get to a certain age in this country, it's like, you know, you're disposable. Oh, you're gonna die soon anyway, type of shit. What the fuck? What are you talking about right now? You know, that's how people are. You know, so
ageism is a big thing in hip hop. I see that. It's a big growing thing.
It shouldn't be. You know.
No.
If Rolling Stones, all these rock groups can perform, and these guys, you know, as far as I'm concerned, they got one foot in the grave. You know,
that's true.
They're old. They're way older than we are.
Deep in the grave.
Way older than us, and they tour. They tour for big money, and they listen to me. I'm talking guys in their 60s. Oh, Motley Crue's performing. They're back. I gotta go see them. What the? Really? Yes, because they're serious about that, and they'll pack a stadium over that. You know, and what do? Oh, we don't support. That's self-hate. You're not supporting your. First of all, hip hop music, hip hop culture is your shit. It's yours. You know, no disrespect to anybody of Caucasian descent, but it's not white people's shit. It's your shit.
Yeah.
So you should go out and support it.
All day.
Come on, man. You know, you don't have to just support, you know, the younger crowd. The younger crowd is fine. They'll be all right because they have the disposable income and nothing else to do but buy shit. You know, you know, if you got a job, you work a 9 to 5, you raising kids, you know, you got a house with a mortgage, all this other shit. That's a totally different demo, you know. But they still like to, you know, sit down on a Friday night, turn on their music and listen to, you know, reminisce about Salt and Pepper, or, you know, Public Enemy or Run DMC or any of these groups, you know. And you know, that's a market that has to be tapped into seriously, you know.
I agree.
And support it, you know.
Do you think we might see a reboot of Yo MTV Raps, or some type of box set from the Yo MTV Rap days that we can have as a collector's item? Do you think that's in the near future?
Well, I'm not going to speak on what Viacom or MTV is going to be doing. But I know myself, Ed and Dre are doing some things that I can't speak on.
Okay.
There are NDAs in place that I really can't speak on, but you guys will know. Everybody will actually know pretty soon. I mean, that's part of my ink. That's part of my ink right now.
In the future, something is coming in the future.
Well,
no question.
What can I ask a favor in advance? When it is ready to be announced, would you come back on the show and announce it on Powaful Impact?
Yes.
Can I put that out there? All right. I just want to make sure that we go ahead and lock. I'm gonna lock it in now. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna wait around. Let's lock this in right now.
Of course, that is not an issue. You know.
All right. Great.
But you can see. I'm gonna tell you what you can see, which will come out next year. Myself and that lover are in a movie, co-starring in a movie called what's the name of the movie to you? The movie is with Bruce Davison and
Okay.
Keith David.
Okay.
It's a horror movie that we're co-starring in. You know.
Okay. Okay.
So you might want to check that out. I'll keep you informed in regards to that as well. You know.
Please do that. Please, we'd love to have anything you have to announce about what you're doing, especially with your MTV Raps movies and what so have you. We'd be glad to have you on. Just want to put that out there now.
Okay,
Plant that seed now.
That's not a problem. I got you.
All right. Dope.
Well, how was everything? How was things like on Lip Service? You know, do you think Spinderella got a good deal with Salt and Pepper?
Lip Service was cool. I mean, I did it before her. I was the first DJ. Lip Service it went well. I mean, it was a cute little game show. MTV doesn't usually do game shows, but they invested a little money into this one, you know. But it went really well. They won a Cable Ace Award for the show. It went well. It went well. They don't give out a Cable Ace Award anymore, but I think that's one of the last ones they gave out. But we won a Cable Ace Award for the show.
All right. Do you? Let me ask you something a little bit different though. Let's go to Video Music Box. You think that it helped influence Yo MTV Raps?
That is that a trick question? Of course, of course. Ralph, salute to my man Ralph. Period. Point blank. Let me tell you this, Ralph. If Ralph McDaniels was offered the job to actually host Yo MTV Raps before Ed and Dre were given the platform.
Okay.
Ralph turned it down because MTV wanted to own all of his content. They wanted to take all his content. They wanted to own Ralph's content, and Ralph, as a businessman, said no. Video Music Box is my show, my content. You know, so no. And you gotta give Ralph props for that.
True. Okay.
Yeah, I just had a question. Like, what type of advice would you give the people, like, you know, like what we're doing, Powerful Impact podcast, that want to do a show like Yo MTV Raps on a new social media platform? What kind of advice would you share, or some light you want to share regarding that, as far as making an impact, a powerful impact rather, on the culture?
Well, you know what I have to do? I have to plug in because we're talking a long time. I didn't know.
Okay, no problem.
You know what I mean? But more importantly, if they were to do a show, first of all, keep in mind I'm biased because I don't ever think there'll be another show like Yo MTV Raps.
No doubt. No doubt.
Know?
Nah, there won't be.
No, that's fact.
There'll never be a show like Yo.
I like that energy. Yo MTV Raps had this energy.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like a lot of these new shows, they have some form of entertainment energy, but not like the authenticity that Yo MTV Raps had. It's just a different.
Because the times are different.
Yeah,
you know,
different frequency.
The times are different, and it was just so much. It was just so much. I'm sorry, excuse me, y'all. Don't worry about it because you can't reach. Yeah, the times are different. You know, we as a collective, you know, and I got to include Fab in this. We as a collective were actually like the CNN of hip hop at the time. There weren't too many platforms like Yo MTV Raps that you can just wait till the evening or early morning and look and see, you know, who's coming out with a new video, you know, what kind of social norm was changing, you know, what was going on in the culture.
Right.
You know, Yo MTV Raps did all that. It was like, you know, it was like your news forecast for what was going on in hip hop culture, you know. And I'm talking about from here to Japan, you know, England, you know.
Well, there was no social media back then. So it was like all you had was whatever show was coming on at that time, you had to tune in. You had to make sure that you were tuning in at that time because people will watch it later. You know? Right.
That's why it was so imperative, you know, for people to watch, you know. Yeah. Before Yo MTV Raps even existed, you know, all video programming was localized. You know, you had Danny Terrio, you had Video Music Box, you had had the box, it was all local programming until Yo MTV Raps hit the scene, and Yo MTV Raps made it global, which generated billions of dollars too for the culture. I did say billions, I didn't say millions. Billions of revenue for the culture, which I don't think myself, Ed, and Dre even get enough credit for, to be quite honest with you,
And you should.
That's a whole nother conversation,
And you definitely should. And I'm gonna go back to because most time when people say, "What is your top 5 MCs?" I want to do something different. Who would you say is your top 5 DJs? I believe I already know who one of them, or maybe 2 of them already. But I just want to give you an opportunity to share that.
Top 5. That's an interesting question. I love that question. And that's the question that most people would ever give much thought to. My number one DJ of all time is DJ Red Alert.
Okay.
DJ Red Alert is a Hall of Fame DJ. As far as I'm concerned, he's lasted decades and decades. He's transcended.
Yes.
He's to use the term relevant, which I can't stand, but he's relevant to this day. And he's turned so many. He's the Spike Lee of hip hop radio. Exactly. He's the Ice Cube of hip hop radio. He's given careers to so many people. He's the first one to play Original Concepts Knowledge Beam and Pump That Bass. And can you feel that? My second greatest DJ of all time is his partner in crime, Chuck Chillout. Chuck Chillout is a very good friend of mine. I know him for many years. Happy birthday, Chuck, by the way.
Happy born day.
Yeah, his birthday just passed. And again, he's been around for decades and decades, man. The number 3 DJ is that I know of to this day is my man Funkmaster Flex.
Oh yeah.
Say what you want to about Flex, but he stays relevant. He stays on his game. Skill wise, he's so official. And I have much respect for him, man. I remember he used to come down to Yo MTV Raps when we were doing the show, And last time I spoke to him, and he was in great spirits. He's a great businessman, smart guy. And he came from the bottom too, man. Bronx kid, came from the bottom. Respect to Flex.
Yeah.
My third DJ on the list, and I don't know if I'm even putting these in order, but my third DJ on the list is the great Kid Capri.
Oh yeah.
Kid Capri is that guy. To be honest with you, and arguably people may say he's the greatest DJ of all time. And the 5th DJ on that list is me.
Of course.
Because without me, I gotta put my place in there someplace.
Well, I expected that. That's what I was looking for.
I gotta say me. I gotta say me. Because without me DJing, I would have never been here.
Exactly.
So, so that's it.
All right.
T-Money, you see your pillow? You see your pillow? Look at Goddess's shirt. No, behind you. Yeah.
Oh, this one?
Look,
good
look at the shirt. Yo, Goddess is wearing this shirt. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, good
you
vibes.
You in the right place, brother. You in
look
the right
at
place,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, good vibe.
Word.
I'm gonna throw you off the stage now. Boom.
Boom. Mic drops, a mic drop moment.
And that was not planned. That was even planned. That's just frequency right there.
Now the pillow won't stay. It won't stay up now. It's mad.
We probably should maybe later on somewhere. Maybe I'm gonna shut up now, but maybe somewhere in the background we should probably talk about them if you want to, the platinum plaques and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how many. I lost count. They're all over my house here.
Okay.
I got a bunch of them.
Count. He was
all
like,
right, I'm shutting up. I just figured.
MC Hammer's plaque was 13
diamond
in one thing. Yeah,
wow.
13 in one.
That's dope.
So I lost count. I got them all over the place. I got them at my mother's house. I got them here at my house.
Is this for production or just you? Production and also you guys helping to boost the records and all of that.
Yeah, anyway, because the labels would give out. Like I have a Def Jam plaque that I actually broke, which I'm disgusted by. It had all the Def Jam artists in it, all the platinum artists. It was huge. So they would come, the promotional people would come to the set and give us the plaques, because remember I told you we program the show, so we directly impact sales on these records. So like I said, in regards to us helping generate millions and billions of dollars, that's how we did it. You know, if you have a single for, I don't know, for anyone, say Ice-T for instance, you know, and you know, you send the video into acquisitions looks at it, you know, and they don't know what show they're going to put it on. We're putting it as part of our programming, so they accept it and then they put it on our show, you know. So that, you know, that's like adding it to a radio station and getting spins. It's even more so because now it's a visual entity. It's, you know, it's visual. It's totally different, you know, than you just hearing the song.
Well, since we're talking about songs and we're enjoying the platinum plaques you got behind you, I wanted to ask you one of your songs, which I believe is a hip hop classic, which is Pump That Bass. I mean, that's the one I really, if you can just talk about what was the thought behind it or how it became a reality, just speak to that for a moment.
I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I worked on that song.
Okay.
But conceptually, that was all Dre. Pump That Bass, Knowledge Me was pretty much me.
Okay.
You know, but Pump That Bass was conceived and put together solely by Dr. Dre.
Okay.
Dr. Dre, because when we were putting the song together, you know, I was actually confused as to what he was trying to accomplish until it started taking shape, right?
Okay.
So that's when I started contributing to it. Other than that, I was just like, Dre, what are you doing right now? You know? But Dre was a genius in regards to that record, you know?
Absolutely.
He took samples from you know, some of the group members and put the song together. It was genius, you know? And we performed that song, believe it or not, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legendary. Yeah. Legendary.
When it's all said and done, right? What do you want people to remember you for?
You thought about that question after the Good Vibes sweatshirt, right? That's what you thought about that question?
Absolutely. That's the perfect
after the
time.
Good Vibes, after the Good Vibes combination, you thought about that question.
I'm going with the frequency, you know what I'm saying?
That's a very to be honest with you, when it's all said and done, I want people to remember me as someone who contributed to the lives of people of color and helped them attain their goals and reach their potential. That's what I want, you know. I want them to know that I was always here. I was a good dude, and I helped whoever needed help, you know.
You made things happen.
Yeah, it doesn't cost shit to help somebody.
No.
You know, it doesn't cost nothing to guide and direct a young mind that is confused, you know, that needs guidance, that needs help. You know, it doesn't cost you a thing. You know, that person makes it, so what? You know, there's room at the top for everybody.
Where do you think hip hop's gonna go from here?
Well, I can tell you where I think it should go.
Okay.
Well, hip hop as a culture should. There's a couple of things that I think about as it relates to that. One, I think hip hop as a whole should be able to function amongst itself.
Right.
We don't, you know, we should be able to generate our own money. It should be a self-contained culture which generates its own money from different money streams and supports the artistry and supports the artist in so many ways. You know, there should be some sort of health plan, some sort of benefits package for recording artists who are in their 50s or 60s. Flavor Flav is in his 60s. Does anybody actually do you realize that Red Alert is that old? These guys are in their 50s, 60s.
No. You know what's because I don't even realize that, because to me they're just like, I just still see them, you know, from the past. Like I don't think about them.
Right, the people that you think about because you fixated on what you know about them. You know, but you
Yeah.
don't think about their age, which is in a sense good. But you know, there's some of them. There's some artists who die before their time because all they do is. I had a friend of mine. This is what made me think about it. I mean, many years ago, I had a friend of mine who, her name, I'm not going to say her name, but she was a very good friend of mine. She was just a friend, and she was a very good friend of mine. She worked in this music industry. She worked in a management company where she was a straight New Yorker. She would go to every club. Every time I DJ in the city, she would be the first there. She would be dancing on the floor by herself if she had to.
Right.
She did management. She ran around here like a chicken with her head cut off, trying to be successful in some way, shape, or form in this business, right?
Mm-hmm.
She worked for a few labels, and you know, she worked for the radio station. She always worked different places. She jumped from job to job, and they hired her because she was loyal, she was dependable, you know, she was ardent about what she did. So she took sick, right? She took sick. She got cancer.
Wow.
And not a motherfucker that hired her helped her during that time.
Wow.
Not one person, you know. And as her friend, I went to the hospital. You know, and it pains me to this day. I'll never forget. I went to the hospital, and you know, she was laying in the bed because you know she had stage 4 cancer. She was terminal, you know. And she was telling me how much it hurt, and she was telling me how happy she was to see me, and that she loved me, and she said thank you, and she just started crying, and then you know what gripped me was she said, why is no one else here? Why are you the only one here? Why didn't they help me? So that bothered me. So I thought to myself, I was like, well, maybe if she had the proper health care during her time, she could have avoided passing away. You understand? And a lot of these artists who die prematurely, they don't go to the doctor.
No.
They know nothing about the doctor. They don't even have, there's no health plan. You know, you touring, you're going on the road, you know, you're living this lifestyle, but you're not stopping to think that maybe I need to get checked out once in a while.
But shouldn't that be the responsibility of the manager or whoever's managing these artists? Like, shouldn't they be the ones putting that?
The manager can tell them that. You know,
they gotta listen.
They gotta listen. And then the manager don't write a check for them to go to the hospital or the doctor. Nope. They gotta write their own check.
Exactly.
You know, it's health. And you know how. And then keep in mind something. That's a great concept for artists who are making $100,000 a show. Let's think about artists who are getting by with $3,000 a show. They can't afford health care. They got to put food in their kids'
you know, their health is important to, you know.
Their health is everything. Their health is everything. That's right, Goddess. Their health is everything, because without your health, you have nothing. You have nothing.
Should be like number one thing that should be taken care of. That should be part of, you know, managing an artist is like, look, we got to make sure that you're staying healthy. We got to, you know, there should be something in there.
A lot of managers don't even talk about healthcare. They don't discuss that. All they're concerned about is their 15% or their 10%.
That's facts. That's facts.
They're not thinking about no healthcare for you, because where they found you, they'll find the next artist. They don't care. You die, you know, God bless you. Let's move on. It sounds cold, but that's the way it is. You know, they're there to be your manager, not your, I guess, not your parent or whoever else, you know. So they may mention it, and I'm not going to speak on everybody because I don't know everybody's circumstances. All I know is that I know there's a lot of artists that have died, and I know the grind of being an artist. I know what they go through. I know how they're always busy and they're up late at night, and they don't work out. They don't take care of themselves. They don't eat right. They don't do a lot of shit. And next thing you know, you're sick.
That's true.
You wonder why.
it might be hard. I mean, don't you think it's a little hard to balance having to do these events and interviews and all of this stuff and stay healthy? Do you think that that's a balance that can be achieved, or you think
just like that's a balance? That's a very good question, guys. And let me tell you something. The answer to that is hell yeah. Because you got to make that part of anything that you do as it relates to your overall health. Not even if you're not a celebrity, you have to make it part of your daily routine. It's just part of your life's goal. It's not about getting your body ready for the fucking summer. It's about getting your heart ready for the rest of your days. You know, you work out and you eat right and you go to your doctor. You know, some people are scared to go to the doctor, but they don't understand that going to the doctor is the best place to be.
Exactly.
If you find out something is wrong with you and you are able to go to the doctor, you're in the best fucking place.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there when it's too fucking late and the doctor goes, I can't do shit for you. You got to be on hospice. You know, kiss the baby. You understand?
I'm glad. Yeah.
No, that's just you know, my opinion on it. I mean, and if you're an artist, you could schedule. I mean, there's some artists that do take care of themselves. They work out. LL Cool J for one. You know, there's a lot of artists that are into nutrition. You know, the Locks, they got the juice bars and they work out, and like there are a lot of artists that are understanding this concept. You know, but there's some that still don't embrace it. You know, and we want you guys to be around for quite some time. You have to think in terms of scheduling, you know, your fitness, just like you schedule, you know, you performing, you know, it's imperative.
You got to make yourself a priority, because if you don't make yourself a priority, your health a priority, there's no show coming up.
No, there's no show. You'll be sick, you know.
Physically
fit.
I
mean, and it's keep in mind something. What I'm saying is not the end all. It's not a blanket statement as it regards to your health, because you know some people can just be genuinely sick, you know, even if they are in good shape. You know what I mean? But you have to, you know, you have to do your due diligence and try to, you know, do your part to try to prevent it. You know, it's helpful.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah.
And it's good that you did touch on mental health and physical health. Well, you said physical health, but I'm just gonna
mental
say
health.
Health period, because a lot
mental
of times
health as well.
Exactly, because a lot of times we just focus on the music, but we don't look at what the artists deal with when they're off the stage or when they're not in the booth recording their music, because they deal with a lot of things before they get to the booth or before they get to the stage. And taking care of yourself is highly important. And I'm glad that you touch on that, because you don't really get to hear that a lot of times in interviews. So thank you for touching on that for us.
No question. Body, your mind, all that you have to put all that together, and you have to manage all that at once. You know, because if your mind's not right, your body will never be right. You can't get your body right unless you have the proper mindset.
Exactly.
You know.
All right. Can I ask? I'm gonna hit you with like a 3 thing real quick. All right. T Money, is that all right? Three questions.
You hit me with a combination. All right, so let me get myself ready here, son. I don't know what you're about to ask me, bro.
Nah, they're not too heavy, but they still gonna be all right. You got it, man. I see already how you're handling yourself. Okay. All right, number one, first one. Where do you think Yo MTV Raps sits in the hip hop museum when all is said and done?
Where do I think it sits?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a broad question. Yo MTV Raps sits atop of Yo MTV Raps sits atop of all the video programming. You know, it was the #1 show on MTV. It was the #1 show of its type during the time that it was on. And it actually bonded the hip hop culture and hip hop music worldwide. It's the biggest and broadest show of its kind, you know. So you have to give it its props, you know, and say it was #1, you know, not to say that all the other shows, well, we don't respect any of the other shows. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I have a true fondness for 106, a true fondness for Rap City, and you know I have fondness for Ralph McDaniels, and
of course,
you know, and all the other shows, Bobby Simmons, shows like that, The Box, but the size of Yo MTV Raps due to the fact that we were on Viacom, and we did that on Viacom, and we touched base with so many artists and so many entertainment people on a whole, not just rappers. We interview singers, we interview actors and actresses. We interview politicians. We interview so many people.
Sports
so many people on our show. Sports. I mean, Shaq Shaq just graduated from college. He came on the show. I mean, everybody was on our show.
Directors, movies, actors.
Tyra Banks, John Singleton.
Oh man,
so many people, man. I mean, and the infant stages too. Some people they just came on. It was just crazy. So I would have to say Yo MTV Raps would be number one in the Hall of Fame as it relates to those type of shows.
Do you think there will ever be a documentary made or whatever?
Well, Yo MTV Raps they already have 2 documentaries out.
What?
If you can Google them. One is VH1 Rock Docs did one, and MTV did one. But there's going to probably be another one coming out. That's part of my NDA that I can't discuss.
Understand.
We'll discuss that later. But but there's already 2 documentaries on Yo MTV Raps out now.
Wow,
you can Google them. You can definitely. Cool. They're on YouTube. YouTube carries them.
Definitely. All right. That was a 2-part. Second question. Now this is broad too because you've done a lot. What celebrity haven't you met that you would like to meet one day?
I didn't meet Michael Jordan. Fab met him. Fab interviewed Michael Jordan years ago. Michael Jordan is a celebrity. Muhammad Ali, who passed away, I didn't get a chance to meet him. Those are my two. What's it called? Those are my. I can't remember what you call it when you're an old man and you have you make a list.
Bucket list.
Bucket list.
Yeah.
Right. Those are my the two top guys on my bucket list with Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali. When Ali passed, so Michael Jordan still here. I've yet to meet him.
All right, so we're putting it out there. Jordan, get with T Money. Come to his birthday party. Be careful though, but come to his birthday party.
Watch out for KRS-One.
Yeah, watch out for KRS.
No, KRS won't push Michael Jordan. I don't think.
No, all right.
I'm still number one. Oh, sorry.
Right,
I had one more question. Did you finish that answer? I'm sorry. Those 2?
Yeah. All right.
I'm sure. Yeah. All right. Now this is a little complex one here, and I think you kind of answered it, but I want to ask it this way. Being that you came up, like you said, people in the infancy stage and when they were budding and coming up, right? What is it like to see so many people come up that became millionaires/billionaires? What are some qualities you see in these types of people and traits that you notice before they become successful and super successful?
The first quality I see in each and every one of these people is drive.
Mm-hmm.
Tireless effort. When you're tired, so I'm so tired. Let me tell you something. Chuck D, aka Carlton Ridenauer, very good friend of mine since 1983, right? He told me one day, he said, we were, because the Public Enemy has always been amazing to me, as young college kids, they had their own office space.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Dre used to go to their office. It was called 510, right? They had an office space in a dentist office where they would have all their DJ equipment, where they would do demo tapes. They shared it with EJ, this guy named EJ, the DJ. It was just amazing to me because I'm sitting here like I'm a freshman in college, and these guys got their own office. They're doing this as a business. Again, my mother says go to college, but I'm looking at my friends do this as a business. They're making money, right? So there's something wrong with this picture. Maybe my parents are a little slow here, so I don't know. So, but my thing is, he used to sit up because Chuck D is a graphic artist by trade. The Public Enemy logo and all that.
Yeah,
Chuck did that himself. Yeah,
wow.
He created that himself. So he was sitting there, he was drawing something. It wasn't Public Enemy logo, it was another logo for someone. I think it might have been Leaders or somebody, Leaders of the New School, because Leaders of the New School came up under the 510 umbrella. Busta, Charlie Brown, Dinko, Milo. So he was saying it was 2 or 3 in the morning, you know, and I was like, I'm tired. I said, man, I'm not tired. What you tired for? You don't need to get tired, because the next man's not tired. He's out there working while you sleeping. You understand? Yep. You sleeping, you go, sleep. Right. Go ahead and sleep, because he's working, and you know he keep doing that. He gonna pass you. They're not passing. And Chuck said they're not passing me. I'm up here working.
That's right.
I'm working. You know, I'm getting things done. So you can't. You know, those guys. I mean,
he's still pushing.
I'm sorry.
Chuck D is still pushing. He's on social media. He's still very active.
This is the same guy. This is the same guy I used to ride around Long Island with, hanging up poster boards for parties in the snow. You know, we used to do parties, and back in the day there was no social media, so we used to create poster boards and hang them up in the neighborhoods at the beauty parlors and the barbershops and the
Roosevelt,
Hempstead, Roosevelt, Westbury, Wyandanch, Amityville, right?
Yeah.
Brentwood. So we used to hang up poster boards. I mean, it would be snowing outside. Like you got to think about this mentality that he has. Like he's from that, so he's not gonna. I mean, this right here is easy for him. He can sit in front of a computer and do it. Forget that.
Yeah,
drive, man.
And making a powerful impact. That's what it's all about.
That's right. If I had to put it in one word, that would definitely be it. What's the similarities between all these people? I'm talking about Chuck. I'm talking about Puff Daddy. I'm talking about Stevie J. I'm talking about all these people that
Russell Simmons,
all these people that ran across my mind. You know,
Rick Rubin.
Drive, hustle.
Yeah,
you know, these guys. You know, I mean, these guys constantly do that. I mean, and it's not hapless drive either. It's drive is driven. Their drive is purposeful.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're not just doing it just because, posing on Instagram is not a drive to them. You know, going to every party is not really a drive for them. Doing something concrete that's going to help them move to the next level is a totally different circumstance. You know, it's different. You know, so that's what they're all about. You know,
and that's my takeaway from the night is the word drive. You know, just being driven towards your purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's definitely my takeaway. And I only got no more than 2 more questions. And I really appreciate all the knowledge and sharing your life story and your experiences, because I know our audience is going to be excited to hear about your journey. But one of them is who are the 3 most influential people that had the greatest impact on your life?
3? God.
Okay.
God is I was a few years ago. Well, I won't say it's a few years ago now. It's almost 10 years ago. I had cancer.
Oh, okay.
I had cancer, and
okay.
And it was really tough for me, you know, because I'm this big strong dude, you know what I mean. So, and I was stricken with cancer, and you know, and me speaking to, and you know, and a lot of people have their thoughts and feelings in regards to God, and you know how they feel about how to worship Him, and if He's even real, and this, that, and the third. But as far as I'm concerned, if it wasn't for Him, I would have never survived. I would have never made it through. Me speaking to Him gave me clarity. It gave me strength. It gave me peace. You know, I really heard Him talk to me, telling me that you're going to be okay. You know, I mean, it was touch and go there for me for a while. You know, because I mean, it was in its early stages, but still, like, who the hell wants cancer? Like, fuck cancer. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
fuck cancer. That's right.
Yeah, no question. Yeah. So today I'm cancer free. God bless me.
Oh man.
And
all right. That's
beautiful. And I've been cancer free for quite some time. You know, as a matter of fact, there are people who call me to talk to me about when they get sick. you know, what they should do. And, you know, I kind of guide a lot of people. I've guided over the last 10 years, I've guided people to, you know, to go and what to do in regards to their health and everything else. So it's been an interesting journey, but God first. Secondly, it would be my father. You know, unfortunately, a lot of us, you know, when I say us, you know what I'm talking about, don't have a father there to guide them, you know, and help them in their life. But I could tell you right now, actual facts. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for my father.
Wow.
I wouldn't be sitting here being able to talk to you with, you know, with any sense or even exist. You wouldn't even be interested in speaking to me if it wasn't for my father. My father is a great man. And he's everything a father is supposed to be, which helps me as a father, you know, raise my daughter, you know, you know, and I totally understand the importance of having a father in your life. I mean, mothers are, I mean, who can argue with how important a mother is, right? But a father is, you know, especially for a young man, is extremely important. And I'm not too sure if there's a third. But I know that those two are 1 and 2 without all question, you know.
I guess it's like personally and professionally, you know. The third one could be miscellaneous.
Oh yeah. And professionally, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's what I actually experienced through my days of being in entertainment. I mean, if you can package that all together, I mean, from DJing at the local clubs to DJing in the national spotlight to being on television to, you know, making records and doing all that, you know, it was a life-changing situation, you know. It changed my life, you know, and it taught me a lot of lessons in regards to people and what to do and what not to do, you know. You had to grow up real quick, you know. And like everybody else, you know, you got your pitfalls and, you know, you got your peaks and valleys, you know. So I learned from that, you know, which helps me do well in my business, you know, because I've learned so much.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I'm sorry to keep going. This is on my mind. There are some people that are just like Big Crit said, the lottery of geography. Sometimes people have bad luck of being in a certain lottery for geography, like being in the South. He feels like he's underrated. But with you and your lottery in geography, it seems like you were born in the right place at the right time to make all of this come together. And I just find that, I don't want to say chosen, but it feels like you were put for the purpose and you found it and you rode that wave, you ride the lightning, so to speak. Anyway, I'm done. I said I was going to be done. I'm done.
Or maybe, well, that's cool. Maybe you could say that to a degree. I never thought of it that way. That I was in the right place at the right time. But when you're successful in this business, you ride a wave. You're part of it, you know. Just like if you were a player that was on a Super Bowl team, you know, you're on that wave, you know. And if you're successful, if you become a great producer amongst a bunch of producers, and you know, and your form of production is hot at the time, you're riding the wave. You're generating the income. If this kind of music that you're making is popular, then you're riding a wave and you're doing well, you know. So it's the same thing as that, you know. I came up in a time where hip hop was on the rise, you know, and you got to know something about a movement, right? Movements just don't happen overnight. They don't just come out like, oh, okay, oh, you're going to be hot overnight. It's usually something that bubbles under the surface for quite some time, and it builds and it builds and it builds, you know. And you have detractors during that time. Just like I remember during the time me and Dr. Dre were in college, we would DJ these fraternity parties, and the fraternities. The heads of the fraternities would come to us and say, "Well, we don't want you to play that hip hop bebop shit," quote unquote. you know, that Run DMC stuff, you could just don't play that shit here. We don't listen to that. You play that Colonel Abrams, you play that, you know, you play that R&B shit, you can play that, but we don't. And keep in mind, this is Run DMC. They're on Profile. They're the biggest artists out.
Yeah,
they didn't want to hear that. So you have detractors. You have people who didn't want this music to surface because rock and roll was king. You know what I'm saying? MTV itself didn't want black music to be popular.
You're right.
You know,
yeah.
So Michael Jackson had to threaten them to take his shit off of MTV before they did anything. They didn't want to do Yo MTV Raps. They didn't want to do that shit, but they had no choice. They had to buckle under the pressure. So it was a wave. So yeah, I guess to your point, I rode the wave. You know, I contributed along the way, but I rode that wave. So you have to be part of a wave somewhere because you can't do it yourself. You know, nothing that great ever happens by yourself. You know, there's always a bunch of people that say, you know, let's make this happen. Let's champion this campaign. Let's do this. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And facts, you know, and I appreciate that you did mention that because I know that MTV, like, you know, people have to realize MTV wasn't eager to put anything on that with Yo MTV Raps or anything else like that. It just didn't happen like that. There was a challenge that occurred in order for them to even get to the point that they did. Gratefully, they did because we wouldn't have had the explosion or the experience that we had with Yo MTV Raps, but it just didn't happen overnight. This was a struggle that became a reality thanks to people like you and the other ones that were involved in that process. And I just want to give you an opportunity because you shared so much of your story, which we greatly appreciate. And you took us on that journey, and it was just good having that conversation with you tonight to know your story. And I just want to give you an opportunity because this is just want to give you an opportunity to give a shout out or anything you want to promote, like any upcoming events or appearances or projects that's coming out. So we want to give you an opportunity to share that with our audience.
That's when I send a shout out to my clients, the Pinot Project.
Okay.
Say what's up to them. You know, they're a great wine and spirit. You might want to check them out.
All right.
Very good wine and spirit. They're a subsidiary of Pinot Noir. They've been in existence since 2009. They're official. You know, they're one of my clients. Okay. And you know, I want to give a shout out to you guys for having me on today. I really appreciate it. I know it was hectic earlier. I was, you know, stuck in traffic.
No, you worry about it.
We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you, man. This is such a great opportunity. And you said so much. I think that you definitely make a powerful impact on the community, on the industry, just to people in a whole in general. So I really appreciate you coming. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it, you guys. You know, we'll do this again soon.
Oh yeah, we definitely do it again. And you know, absolutely. And again,
coming up.
Yeah. And again, go ahead. You're fine.
I was gonna say I'm looking to put together an event, you know, for my company. So I would like to invite you guys. That'd be really cool.
We would love to come.
Yes.
We would love to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Powerful Impact will be in the building.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
that is a bet.
All right, no doubt. Well, once again, we thank T-Money, which again, I am grateful. I've been a fan of Yo MTV Raps from a youth and even to now. And we thank you for your contribution for what you did with Original Concept, Yo MTV Raps, and even the things you're doing today. You know, we can never put words to what you're doing, and we will continue to honor what you're doing, the contribution you make for the culture. Again, I thank my partners and Rhyme as far as what we do here. My partner SP, Goddess, myself, Solrak, and again, Neb. And we want to encourage all of our fans who've been watching us and supporting us, continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can stay updated on our upcoming episodes and follow us on social media. And remember, Powerful Impact is more than music. It is a way of life. And Neb, I'm going to let you check us out with our infamous sound we like to make after every episode. And T-Money, once again, we thank you for being with us. We thank you for the contribution you make to the culture. And more importantly, we love who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
All right. Peace,
All
peace,
right.
peace.
Peace.
Y'all be good, man.
All right.
One.
Peace. One.